Shut up and sit down.
Here we are at Trash TV Live, and today I am joined by Ben from Narcissus. Hello Ben, how you doing?
I'm very well, how are you?
I'm not too bad at it. Well, I got a bit of a cold,
Yeah.
so excuse that. No, but I'm doing good, So this is an exciting year for you, isn't it?
Very much so, very much. We've got plenty going on. Spent the last 12 months kind of raising our profile again because we've been mothballed for this part of a decade.
Now I wanted to mention this year because, you know, the new album coming up, but it sort of makes sense that we go back a few years.
Yeah.
So tell us, because not everyone might be aware of the genesis, shall we say, of Narcissus, but you were actually a band and signed up it sort of mid 2006.
Yeah, mid-noughties. We had quite a bit of momentum behind us. We'd signed with an independent label in Manchester, Northern Ambition, released a single. We'd signed a publishing deal. So we set about kind of using the advance to buy our own gear. So we set our own studio up and we started recording our debut album. And then the publishing company went bust, and with it took all our kind of momentum really. That said, because we'd used our advance to get our studio, we had the means to finish our album. So we finished our debut album.
Yes, okay, that's good.
It took us a couple of years, and we were creatively spent by that point. And we released a single, like I said, Northern Ambition, but we kind of just dissipated really. So an album sat on a shelf for 10 years, and then kind of, was it late 2017? My partner got a job in an office in Manchester, and it happened to be the same place as our bass player's partner worked. And through that we got talking again, and I dug out the album, dusted it off, put it on, and it sounded fresh as a daisy. So we
really,
and the idea at that point really was just to put a couple of tracks online, and because the industry's changing those intervening years, you can do that now, can't you? You can just put it up yourself.
So let's just go back to then. When you were signed up then, how was that experience? How long had you been together before you were snapped up and before you were signed? Because then we'll compare that to how it is now. What was that experience?
Probably a couple of years we'd spent kind of honing our sound and stuff. And we started out by I'd kind of been writing songs and wanting to do something but not quite sure how to, and I'd answered a kind of lonely musician's ad in a I mean that shows how times have changed.
Are you serious?
In a paper that I'd kind of never do that sort of shit.
That is brilliant. It doesn't happen now, does it?
No, but the guy, and it's Chris, our producer, programmer, all round kind of techie geek.
You've got to have one of them, haven't you?
And his influences were exactly what I was looking for. So DJ Shadow, Radiohead, Massive Attack. I was like, yeah, that's it. So I had these crude 4-track demos, and he was much more savvy than I was technically. And he kind of some instrumental pieces, and we kind of swapped ideas. And day one, it just worked. You know, we just complemented each other. And then we swelled to a 4-piece and started playing sporadic gigs, and it just grew from there really. I mean, probably peak for us really in terms of live. We played the Percussion Festival. It's no longer with us, but Castleville Bowl, and on the same day headline Band on the Wall. So we kind of
brilliant legged it over to do that
on a baking hot day. That was amazing.
Because you were causing, well, you caused quite a fuss.
Yeah.
And so what interests me is how that then sort of not crumbles, because I don't know exactly the ins and outs. The publishers obviously fell through, but had you become jaded? Because it seems in a short amount of time you went from having a lot of fizz, a lot of creativity, to then the band.
Part of what it was, and hopefully we're kind of in a much better place this time around. But what it was is that you the naivety of being a bunch of lads without a manager,
Yeah, okay.
So we didn't have a manager at that point and a team around you. And I think people, people like slow readers, here and now, have kind of mentioned about how things change for them the minute they've got a team around them, a manager and a label who's invested
right,
in
okay.
things like that.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be on a massive scale, but to get a team around you, I think that's...
A bit of organisation.
Yeah, that's the key. Because I don't know. I certainly was very, very naive, and I'm not so sure I could roll with the punches that much. I wasn't that thick-skinned and resilient to the fact that it's not an upward trajectory. It's a bumpy road, isn't it?
So did it affect the actual relationships within the band then? Because you mentioned last year that you then started talking to the bass player again.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but had you sort of separated as friends as well?
I wish I could sit here now and say it was some kind of rock and roll kind of drama, but it really it kind of just dissipated. Really, it was just
life.
Yeah. And when we'd finished the album, I think one of the things that I've always found difficult with any project I've done, because I've done a couple of other things as well, is that when I've crystallised an idea or finished something, I drop off a cliff, mate, creatively. It's like
really
I need a bit of a break and then to go again with another idea. I need to see it fully formed. So when we've recorded an album, it was difficult at times to record that album, to just get the version. We're quite particular with our sound and stuff, and recorded it all ourselves. It was 2.5 year process, and I was done by the end of it. So it kind of just, then when you get the thing with the publishing company rapping as well, it just a combination of factors. It was just a bit of a storm. Really. So factors just meant that.
So you all went away then, and I know that you're parents. Some of the other bands are parents.
Bass player's parent. Yeah.
And did you take up full-time jobs?
Yeah, we're all in different jobs. Yeah, Chris cut his teeth as a DJ at 42nd Street.
Right. Okay.
So he's kind of a resident DJ there. We're all doing various different things.
So coming back then, and it's nice to hear, that just perhaps it was serendipitous, that your partners were working together, and so do you think that just life experience, and I know that could be a cliche, but it does exist, life experience, maturity, this just felt the right time to get back together?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we put a couple of tracks online, and it was amazing how quickly people were attentive to it and were interested.
Because did you announce it, or did you just went with it? You just
just went with it, and then kind of Chris knew our manager from previous kind of life and stuff like that. I sent him the album and he loved it and he wanted to get involved, and then from there we started to kind of get like you said, a kind of team around us to kind of, and our manager's been instrumental in it really, but and then we were having the discussions about, well, should we give it a whirl and see how it goes. So we got in the rehearsal room and it just was like putting on an old pair of boots. It was great.
Was it?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Yeah, tell me about that moment then. Where were you when you picked up your instruments together again?
We were at Blueprint Studios in Salford, and we just booked a rehearsal room and started playing like some of this, and it was just straight away. It was great. It was fine. It sounded great, and then it's just grown from there. And now we're in a place where we've got brand new material. So we're in rude hell for because we've got an album that still sounds fresh and great, but we've also got brand new material that's ready to go. So
and you'll be playing a track for us later, and it absolutely is beautiful. But does it feel different? Are your influences different now on the music? Because you've had that time where you've become a dad, or you've done other things. Do you find that you've got new influences on what's driving you to write songs, absolutely, lyrically and perhaps
absolutely.
musically?
I mean, I think it's kind of lyrical themes on the album are quite prescient really in today's times. But yeah, I mean, it's still the same sort of touchstones. Life, the human condition, those sorts of things. Your own life, other people's lives, and so it's still those sort of things. But musically, I think we all bring to the table different influences, and it kind of just works. I had to in the intervening years remember how to write choruses again, because a lot of the stuff I'd written
Right.
since was quite downbeat sort of stuff, and that would never work in Narcissus because we don't do subtle too well.
But do you feel that that you're all on that same level?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you understand what this new album that's coming out this year, what you wanted that to be, or was it a bit of
we're all like really, really proud of it. I think it's a great body of work, and it's reflective of our influences and record collections. We're often described as being quite eclectic, and we've got a range of different influences and sounds and stuff like that. But it's a cohesive body of work. It's work.
So did you personally approach this differently? Because you, just from what you've told me, you felt that back then, the actual process, that creative process, you threw everything into that until it was done, and I believe you said, you then sort of go off a cliff. So did you have to sort of tell yourself, right, this has to be different, and I have to be aware of that not happening? I
think a lot of it's quite natural, really. But first time round, as a young band, and that's the way it should be. You're chasing this elusive thing of whatever making it is. And I can remember us releasing a single on an indie label and not being very happy with either the final version or the rigmarole of it all. It was just constantly chasing. There was no better time than when you're just 4 guys in a room, or 4 guys playing a gig or recording or whatever. This time round, just like say life experience, it's just everything's just a bonus and just.
So do you feel that perhaps your purpose has changed? So whereas maybe as a young band you want to go and you just want to smash it and sell all these albums or download now and headline Glastonbury and do this and that, do you find that your purpose has changed and that actually it's perhaps more you just want to play your music? And that sounds
there is that. I mean, it's just the artistic kind of integrity being upheld. I'm just interested in the art, music. I love playing live, but it's all about the kind of songs, really. Song is king.
And so, to finish this year, what are the plans for this year? What are you?
We've got a single coming in April. It's been a little bit delayed, but it's coming in April on a new label in Manchester that I'm sworn to secrecy on.
Okay, exciting.
And then another single late summer, early summer, and then the album late summer.
Brilliant. And gigs?
Starting from March really, and then from there on in it's every month. It's quite busy, a few festivals, so plenty going on. Should be a good year for us.
It's going to be exciting. Now before we let you go, all our guests have to sign the trash table.
Fantastic.
So come on, mark it on there.
I'll sit next to Denise if that's alright.
And if you want to find out more about Narcissus and their plans and live dates and releases of new records and singles, you can check them out on their website. Ben, thank you very much.
Pleasure, Alex. Thank you.